Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 226 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. So, have you subscribed to my podcast on Spotify or Apple? Just asking. Make sure you do. You don't want to miss anything. And if you haven't already, swing over to Apple Podcasts and give me a 5-star rating. It really does make a difference. I know you probably are like, yeah. But no, it totally does. And leave a comment because I read them and it makes me happy. All right. So I really wanted this episode to be a 30-second episode where I just said this. The title is How to Feel Good. My message is stop doing what makes you feel bad. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. But I knew that would be annoying and leave you hanging, and I would never do that. So I'm just going to kind of give you some examples of what I mean. I also went back and forth on the title. Will it be How to Feel Good? Or will it be How Not to Feel Bad? Because I'm going to talk about them both. But I went with How to Feel Good because it seemed happier. Now you know how I choose my titles. Okay. Have you ever had people in your life, could be family, could be friends, where you don't feel good about yourself when you're with them, or maybe after you leave them? Maybe they gossip a lot, or they're super negative the whole time, or they're kind of passive aggressive to you. Whatever it is, you don't feel great about yourself when you've been around them. So I have. I'm sure you can relate. But it's okay to limit your time with them until you're able to not absorb that negativity. It's also okay to not participate in gossip and simply change the subject. I know sometimes that seems like no fun, but it's actually doing you a service and them a service. If someone is bringing you down, you have to have your own back by realizing that you're an adult and you get to choose who you spend time with. You can't change people, but you can change people. Do you get that? You can't change them, but you can actually change who you're hanging with. Okay, yeah. Anyway, not saying you're going to do that, but I just want you to keep it as an option. Sometimes we do things out of obligation because it's our family or because we think we're doing good for someone, but at what cost? I had this sweet neighbor one time that lost her husband. She was elderly and she didn't leave the house really ever. So I decided I would visit her weekly and just sit and talk to her because I thought she was really lonely. But when I sat with her, she only talked about negative things. And no matter how hard I would try to steer the conversation to something happy or positive, still went negative. Now, I realized I wasn't helping her or me because me absorbing that energy didn't do anything for either one of us. Instead of feeling good when I left, I felt a little cranky. I like that word, cranky. Now, that is my issue, though, because she can't make me feel or act a certain way. I have to be comfortable enough with myself to say right now, I'm not able to sit in that energy for an hour and not absorb it. So I opted instead to just kind of check in on her periodically and bring her little happies now and again instead of actually sitting with her weekly and talking. Now I'm genuinely glad to see her and I'm able to keep my energy positive when I'm around her. Less time, but more value for both of us. I had to have my own back and say just because that's what someone else wanted doesn't mean I have to continue, regardless of how it made me feel. And it didn't make me feel good to do that. And so I pivoted to a scenario where I still was showing that I care and looking out for her, but also protecting my peace. I feel good about that. And to be honest, it's better for her too. Now, there's something else that I think we all do, or maybe I think we all do, maybe you don't. But a week or so ago, I had a day where I felt lethargic and anxious and just not creative at all. And it's not really normal for me. So I checked in and I thought, what have I done differently from the other days? Well, I already knew the answer before I even asked it. So there was an email that popped up earlier, and I saw the headline, and it caused my brain to have the urge to go dive into the latest news. And for about an hour, here I go. I looked at everything that's wrong with the world and how it's never going to get better if we don't fight back. And even then, it's going to be an uphill battle because there are people wanting to destroy the world as we know it and blah, blah, blah. I'm not even kidding about this. It was bad. They call it porn fear for a reason, or fear porn. I don't know how it is, but it's scientifically proven to suck you in. And it'll cause your heart to race and your anxiety to skyrocket. That's the point. That was where I went, and I had to bring myself back, which I did. Now, I didn't beat myself up. I just said, remember this moment because you feel really bad right now, and it's all your own fault. It was a learning point. So maybe I did beat myself up a little bit. Anyway, because I felt bad and had wasted so much time looking at what was wrong and then kind of ruminating about it, I didn't feel like working out. Kind of made me want to buffer by having an alcohol drink and all the things that go with that. You can see how what we feed our minds, it even affects what we feed our body. So often when I feel bad, it makes me want to eat bad. Do you feel that way? So if there's something you're doing that makes you feel bad, like following a certain person or group on social media, just unfollow them. Or if the news makes you feel bad, limit it to a cursory glance. Most of it's not news anyway anymore. We know that. Or maybe you like to look at politics. That's a fun one. Let's focus on that one. Let's talk about that. And you get me when I say this because 99% of it is negative anymore because that's what gets you hooked. Now, I used to eat ice cream knowing it was going to cause my arms to break out in a rash. I used to drink vodka knowing I was going to feel bad the next day. I don't do that anymore because if I'm not going to have my own back, then who is? If something makes you feel bad to eat it, maybe stop eating it. There are so many good alternatives anymore. There's zero reason for you to continue eating something that you know your body doesn't like. Now, I eat waffles on the weekend. They're gluten-free, dairy-free, and grain-free, and they're delicious. I sound like a commercial right now, but they are. You can find alternatives to things that are what you love, and they don't make you feel bad. I look at glutenfreesociety.org all the time. There's hundreds of recipes that are divine. I'll put that in the show notes, that glutenfreesociety.org, because it really is good. Now, this episode, I specifically chose the title, How to Feel Good, not How Not to Feel Bad. So I'm switching gears here. Your life is full of choices. You're the only one that can look at each thing you're doing and ask, does this make me feel good? How many things do you do in a day that make you feel good? Like exercising, eating whole foods, spending time with friends and family, nature walks, doggy snuggles, podcasts that grow you. Those are just a few. Think about how much time you spend doing the things you love. And some of you might be thinking, well, I'm stuck in a situation that isn't going to change, that I don't love this, but I can't do anything about it. Okay, that may be. But you have two choices. You can feel bad in a situation, or you can find a way to feel good. When a situation isn't going to change, you have to change the way you look at it. I used to drive an hour to work and back every day, and it was not my favorite thing to do. So I started listening to books on tape. This was before podcasts, just to kind of show my age. And sometimes I would literally drive around longer just to finish a chapter. I started looking forward to my commute. It changed everything just by that one little thing. And another story I've told before, but it had such an impact on me that I'm just going to keep telling it. I love it so much. My friend who was engaged, and one weekend he was out of town. And when he came home, his fiance had moved out, taking all her stuff, along with the ring he had bought her. Now, he was devastated. And then he got mad. How could she not return that ring? I mean, it was expensive, and she was the one that broke things off. It's not fair. It's not right. Well, fortunately, he had a coach at the time. And look, I think we can all agree on that, right? Or maybe not all of us, but it doesn't seem fair. But he had to change the way he looked at it. His coach asked him, do you think you are going to get that ring back? Honestly. He said, no, I don't. So the coach changed his life with one easy question. Then how would it change your world if you just mentally gave her the ring as a gift and freed yourself from the anger? he thought about it and he said it would change everything. And that's what he did. From that point on, he felt completely different in an instant by simply changing the way he was thinking about it. That's the power of changing the way you look at something, especially if it isn't going to change, right? If that something's not going to change, you got to change the way you look at it. If you're really struggling with that, you can hire a coach that can help you. A coach's job is to show you your thoughts and how they're affecting you. What's your peace worth, right? You're not going to feel good every day, but you deserve to feel good a majority of the time. You know the things that make you feel good, and you know the things that don't make you feel good. Make sure the good outweighs the bad. Have your own back. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.